What's up, beautiful people? Luis Gonzalez here from the agency, and today we're bringing you real estate market updates, but also some cool stuff that's happening in Arizona. And a lot of you may not know that I am part owner of Welcome to Arizona on Instagram, biggest following for the state of Arizona, Instagram and TikTok. And we're gonna dive into some things, some fun stuff, not just real estate, a little bit of fun stuff, you know. Arizona has so much to offer. I'm just gonna go down a list of what we've been able to do for our clients. So I had one guy relocating from California. We were able to get his closing costs paid, and he moved here because he wanted to be closer to his grandchildren, and we made it happen. So a very, very specific deal, not a traditional loan by any means, but we were able to use our resources with our experience that we have, and we were able to get him in a great loan to make it happen in the timeline that he wanted it to happen. We also helped another client move here from California, and they're retiring here, and they wanted to move somewhere where it wasn't as crowded as California, and it wasn't as expensive, and they're able to live the lifestyle that they want to after retiring. So we got them here. We got a really good deal on a property. I think it was like 40,000 below actual market value because it needed like small renovations. But like if you were to put in $10,000, you have $50,000 in equity right off the bat. So they found the right perfect property for both of them, and we put them in the house, and they're super happy. And they're already started some small minor remodel, but I'm sure it's going to look great. And then we also had another one of our clients that he was renting and decided he didn't want to rent anymore. His lease was coming up, and he decided to, you know, they're starting a family. They have a little young baby, and they just didn't want to live in an apartment, wanted some more space as their family is growing. So we were able to get them some closing costs, actually all the closing costs. So they're very happy. And another one of my clients, he just got an investment property, and I've helped him to buy a couple more in the past years, but he bought in January, and we got about $15,000 off the list price, which is awesome for an investor, for anyone really. But he's happy, and he's got the house that's he's gonna rent it out. So obviously he believes the market is still good, and so do I. And then I had another guy moving from Las Vegas for a job transfer. A lot of jobs here, a lot of commercial stuff that's happening that's bringing in some labor from outside of the state, and a lot of companies are moving here to do a lot of business because Arizona right now is booming in the commercial industry. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. And then, so for that specific client though, I did want to mention that we got him about $10,000 in closing costs, and we got it for about $12,000 below list price. So he was super happy. Also it was not a traditional loan for this guy, which, like I said, we have a lot of, I have a lot of resources, and sometimes, you know, what's in the box just doesn't fit. So we go outside the box, and we can do that. So when you're working with an experienced agent, there's a lot of resources that, you know, somebody else may not have. So it's always good to know who you're working with. Let's dive into the market. This is what's been happening January, and then we're going to talk about today. In January, the days on market are 79 days. So if you're a buyer or if you're a seller, you're going to see some properties on the market longer. We had 18,000 active listings in January, 6,000 are pending, and 4,300 sold in January. So it's not super great. However, February, as of today, February 25th, things are looking a little bit better. We are at 15,000 and change for active properties, 9,000 that are pending, so 3,000 more than last month. Very good sign. And the sold, they're about the same. So right now we're actually, as of right now, we've sold in the Maricopa County more homes than we did in January. So that's a very good sign. And by the way, a lot of the people buying that, they were holding off because the interest rates just skyrocketed in summer of last year, and I think a lot of people held off, and I totally understand that. And I think now that everyone's a little bit more used to today's market conditions, there's people that are willing to go and buy and make that investment for themselves. And I just want to comment, there's one thing that I've always said. I don't push anyone to buy at any time and at any point. I think the buyers buy when they're ready and able to. So just because the market is great right now, that doesn't mean that a buyer necessarily has to buy it, because sometimes, you know, it just doesn't fit with their timeline to buy at that moment. Even if the market is like, oh my God, you need to buy right now, some people just aren't able to do that at that point. But then they are, like my client did in, you know, last month, and their lease was coming up and they just decided they didn't want to rent anymore. So everyone has their own, you know, strategy to buying, and it all depends on where you're at right now in this current situation, if it makes sense for you to buy or not. So another thing that happened is the Fed lowered the private mortgage insurance. What that means is you have less cost when you buy a property, because you have a lower private mortgage insurance. And private mortgage insurance is always added to your monthly payment if you don't put 20% or more down. So, which is a lot of the people, or the majority of the people. So you can expect to, on a $400,000 home, you can probably expect to save anywhere between $80 to $100 more or less. So yeah, so that's very good news. Rates, they're continuing to stay around 6%, nothing new. We'll see what the Fed does, or see how the rates are affected as we move forward. I know they were trying to control inflation, but I was just reading some reports and the spending has not stopped. So they're kind of worried about inflation, because although the rates are up, the spending is still there. So we'll see what happens with that in this coming year. The average rent right now is about $2,300. So if you're renting for $2,300 and you have the money to buy a house and you want to pay around the same price, you might be able to do that. There's one thing to know about the rental market in the MLS. A lot of the rental homes are not on the MLS. Why? A lot of these property management companies, they have a huge database of renters or tenants that they have already worked with. So instead of putting the properties on the MLS and getting another agent involved, they just kind of do it in-house. They have their own website, and they have all the homes for rent there. And sometimes they just say, hey, you know, your lease is coming up. We have another property over here if you want to transition over to this one, if you want to continue renting. So a lot of the rental properties are not on the MLS. Let me give you some info on the commercial real estate. And this is why I think Arizona is still going to be one of the best states as far as their economy goes, just because the amount of people in business that are coming to the state. So let's start off. So Arizona right now is number 2 in the United States for commercial real estate. Last year, it contributed $91 billion to the real estate market, or commercial real estate market. And 661,000 jobs are supported in 2022 based off this commercial real estate. So I think that's awesome. And then let's see where they rank among the United States and the different industries. So industrial, which includes manufacturing, Arizona ranks number 2 behind Texas. In the warehouse, they rank number 3 behind just Florida and Texas. And in the retail space, they're number 10. So a little bit lower, but still in the top 10 and number 2 overall. That's amazing. That's great for the economy. And this is why I feel pretty confident about Arizona and real estate in this year. Let's get to some fun stuff. Welcome to Arizona. If you have not learned or heard about this page, which is great, not just because I'm part of it, but we really do highlight the best in Arizona. And honestly, we do it for the community, for the state. And what we do there is, if you haven't gone, go to Welcome to Arizona on Instagram or TikTok, and soon it will be YouTube. But what we do is we highlight restaurants, hiking, date ideas. We do so many giveaways. We've done giveaways to Drake, Taylor Swift, Airbnbs, like 2-night stays, the Phoenix Open. The Super Bowl was just here. We gave away 2 Super Bowl tickets, and that was awesome. So if you want to follow the best page in Arizona, Welcome to Arizona is the page. You know what was really cool about Welcome to Arizona? We've been working on this page, started by my other business partners that are brothers, and they started that since 2015. So 8 years in the making. and we've accomplished so much, and we've literally put Arizona on the map. And it's just so inspiring, because sometimes you get to, you're just working, you don't see the results, and then you look back and you're like, oh shit, we've done a lot, and we've done great things for the state and for ourselves and for the page. And sometimes as you're working, you're just kind of in the grind mode, and you just don't see what you're really working on. But that was super cool. The Super Bowl, covering the Super Bowl, having our team out there, interviewing football players, Patrick Mahomes, and you know, just being in the media with the Super Bowl was just an amazing experience. All right, guys, let's close this up. Today's segment, let's close that up. So overall, my opinion, I think the year starting off good in the real estate market. We're in a good space, a good pace right now, and I hope it continues to do that. I think a lot of people are going to adjust to, like I said, to today's market, and I think overall it's going to be great. And one thing to note is investors are buying fewer homes. Those guys are all about the bottom dollar. If it don't make sense, they're not going to buy it. Although they are cutting back on maybe buying so much, but they are still buying. You know, these guys are very smart, and they have a ton of resources and a ton of data to tell them, you know, what to do or what not to do. But nonetheless, I think it's good. You know, less investors buying up properties. It's good for the people here that want to live here, that live here, and they just want to have a house for themselves and are not just investing. Also, we have below $1 million homes, the supply is falling. So we don't have as many as we used to. In 2019, we had 16,000 homes under $1 million. Today, we have less than 13,000 under $1 million. So that comes into the affordability issue. That's still going to be a challenge, I believe, for this year, because of just the high rates, not many job raises, inflation. So what are your thoughts on the market? What's going to happen? What are your what's your input? Please comment down below. Would love to see what the community is thinking. As always, I am your guy for anything Arizona, real estate, cool stuff to do, recommendations, resources, you name it, I got you. And don't forget, the agency, we are worldwide. So we have offices in Portugal, in Los Cabos, Aspen, New York, Boston, Austin, so many great places. And if you need to go anywhere in the world, I'm your guy. I'll connect you to whoever you need to. So that being said, guys, thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. And as always, take care.